Thanks for everyone for waiting and welcome back. That was quite a changeover. Can I get a big round of applause for Marty Jones on sound? Yeah, working really hard tonight. He's been with us, I believe, from the start. Yep. Yeah, and Marty's just an awesome sound engineer, great person, and yeah, I mean, COMA wouldn't sound or be like it is if it wasn't for Marty. So give him another round of applause. And also, yeah, give a round of applause for these two gentlemen. We've got Derek Pascoe and Chris Martin. So Chris was he's a founding member of COMA. Yep. So it's, yeah, part of the celebration tonight was we invited every committee member, past committee member we could think of, and also some ensembles and performers that have played here in the past and have been a really important part of our history. And so it's great that these guys could be with us tonight. And I'll hand over to Derek to talk some more.
Hello. Hello. Thank you. It's so lovely to see everyone here and to celebrate mine and Chris's 25th anniversary. So thank you. What is it, 25th? Is that paper, rock, scissors, ruby? Ruby's 40, isn't it? I don't know. What's 25? Silver? Silver. There we are. Okay, silver. Great. And also, it's so exciting for us because on a slow boat from China came a project that we've both been working on for the last 2.5 years. Basically, because I'm slipping into my dotage, I wanted to record some things that I thought I could still do here before I lose my mind and everything. Yes, it's actually here, believe it or not, and it's an 18 CD box set of our playing, which is basically a response to James Joyce's Ulysses, which was a lovely thing in my mind when I was a kid. Couldn't understand a word of it, but it was brilliant, and I knew it was brilliant, and so since then I've read it a few more times, and I'm slightly slowly getting to understand it. But it was great for two improvisers to sort of respond to the core principles in that book, which is love, adultery, yes, and married life, a father looking for a son, and a father looking for a son, and a son looking for a father. He's not my dad. Chris's dad, who's a lovely person, is sitting on the table over there, that you can go and get autographs from him if you wish. Anyway, here we are, and we're going to play. Thank you.
Keep that round of applause going for Derek Pascoe and Chris Martin. Here comes everything. Yeah. So I think over there-ish is where people can go check out the box set. Stage right. I'm informed. I don't know. Over there. But not just yet. I'll let these gentlemen vacate the stage. Then we're just going to have a couple of formalities. Yeah, so COMA is a weird thing. It doesn't exist. No organisation exists like this anywhere in the world, to the best of my knowledge. And I've done very limited research. But you can take my word for it.
I think there's a place in Barnsley.
Yeah, so, and the reason why it exists and it's so unusual is because of just a unique number of amazing factors that have just come together in a very fortuitous way. One of them is this place, the Wheat Chief Hotel, and we're going to hear from, they give us incredible, like, unbelievable support. Like, you tell people what the Wheaty do for us, and they don't really believe you, because, it's unbelievable. And Jade will come and chat a bit later. Another one is just the thousands upon thousands of hours of volunteer work that the committee has done. The current committee, past committees, there's lots of past committee members here. I can see Kim, there's Chris, JB. Can we just give a round of applause for anyone that's sat on the COMA committee? Speaking from my perspective, it's been a real honour. It's not, we're servicing the music, but also building community. And, it gives us somewhere, weird people like us, somewhere to hang out and do weird things like this. And it's pretty cool. And one of the other partners is you guys, all the audience that come to pretty much, there's a core, you know who you are, especially this guy, that come to pretty much every gig. And I think there's many of the gigs they come to they don't really like, but they still come anyway. And this is, So we really appreciate anyone that comes through our doors. And the other thing we're really proud of as a COMA committee, I think, is that we've been able to keep it relatively affordable. So we started off charging $8 and $5, and that's creeped up to $20 and $12, but I think that's incredible value in this economy. I don't know if anyone's been to a concert anywhere that's cost them less than like $50 in the last 3 years. And you get to see 2 acts, and it's great. And that's made possible because of the support from the state government. We've been funded, we've been funded almost continuously for 20 years. The government is a part of that, but also we've fought really hard for those funds through countless grant applications. We've been through a number of departments. We started off in arts, which we're happy to be back at now. We were in Department of Industry and Skills for a while. That was weird. Bet you can't guess when that was. But we're really thrilled to be back under the umbrella of arts, because I think that's the best way to describe us. If you've got any better ideas, I'm all ears. But we're thrilled to have the Arts Minister with us tonight. This is, I believe, a 3rd COMA gig, and it's amazing. We've never had this much engagement from anyone in government, so it's great that you're here, and thanks for coming along. And it'd be great if you could come up and have a little yarn with the good people. So I just want to introduce the Honourable Andrea Michaels, MP, Minister for the Arts.
Thank you. I didn't get that either, so when I got in, I brought it all together. And now it's Create SA, which is music and screen and traditional arts all together. And for those who are interested, we have a place to create, which is our new cultural policy that looks over the next 10 years. I just want to say thank you to COMA for having me. I think this might have been my 4th time. The first time was this youngish gentleman over there who I think probably on the day I became Arts Minister rang my husband and said, well, the Arts Minister must come to the Wheaty next Monday night. And you never say no to Mark, so I was probably unofficially here. He says no to them. it is such a beautiful community, and 20 years is worth celebrating, particularly given it really is volunteers running it. So to be going for 20 years under that kind of umbrella is fantastic. The community here, the incredible musicians that I've seen, and all of those who have come before, I got to be part of this little gang. You guys really provide that community for musicians to create incredible work here in South Australia. The Wheaty as well, thank you for your support. And all of you who come along, some for 20 years, thank you for your support of live music here in South Australia, and here's to the next 20 years.
Thanks, Andrea. Also, on that note of government support, I do want to shout out especially Emily Tulloch, who's led most of our funding efforts for the last 20 years. She's a tireless advocate for original music and also like underprivileged groups and people that wouldn't usually get an opportunity to present music in South Australia. She's a fierce advocate for that, and I think she should be commended. And I should stop talking, and I should welcome Jade Flavel to the stage.
Thanks, Sam. And thanks, Andrea. There's always a price for Wheaty support, and that's 3 pages. So bear with me. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge the Minister, Andrea Michaels, who, in addition to Minister for Arts, is Minister for Small and Family Business. And the Wheaty being both of those things, we were fortunate enough to avail ourselves of the Small Business Energy Efficiency Grant late last year. So beginning of last year, we put a multitude of solar panels on the pub, so 96 panels, and we became about 30% self-sufficient, which was quite monumental for us. We did that off our own bat. However, stage 2 we could not have done without state government assistance, and so we had a grant to enable us to buy a battery, which is, again, much more exciting than it sounds. It effectively an extra 35 panels, which will give us the equivalent, and 60 kilowatt battery, which will give us the equivalent of 50% of the total electricity running requirements for the pub, including band room, including the brewery. So that's no small thing. So thank you. And it demonstrates there's more than one way to literally and figuratively keep the lights on, and it's not necessarily in direct arts funding, although there's always room for that. 20 years COMA, quite extraordinary. And who would have thought that a ragtag bunch of visionary jazz nerds, in a pub that accountants regarded as having negative equity, in a town that banks thought couldn't support another non-pokey pub, let alone a live music one, and we were denied any kind of loan on that basis to buy the pub. The licence was regarded as less than worthless, less than a startup. So we had to pretend we were going on holidays and buying new cars in order to borrow enough money to buy the licence for the Wheat Sheaf Hotel, circa 2003. So it was a time, and conventional wisdom was certainly that none of what we were talking about doing was sustainable or viable. Fast forward 2 years, and that bag of ragtag jazz nerds, highly accomplished musicians, rock up and say, "Hey, what do you think about this COMA thing?" I'm like, "Let me have a chat to our accountant." Monday night, art music, jazz, in a non-pokey pub that Adelaide can't support. What's not to love about that? Of course we'll do it. Of course we'll do it. And it aligned with everything that we were interested in doing and being at the time. So creating a community, creating a space where if you got 10 punters for the first 6 months, 12 months, or 18, as it occasionally turned out to be, that's fine. Like the project in and of itself, inherent value, amazing musicians doing amazing things, volunteer-led, and presenting music world class to an audience paying a nominal fee to be here. So it was pretty special opportunity for us at the time, and we were thrilled to be part of that and to partnership with COMA in its inception. So COMA started at the Wheaty, and Wheaty's very much part of COMA, and COMA is part of the Wheaty. So 20 years, pretty extraordinary. First and third Monday of the month, sometimes to 10 and 12 punters a night. And I think, Mark, you were probably there for most of them. absolutely extraordinary effort. And who would have thought that that would evolve into, being one of the mainstays of the original live music scene and community in Adelaide, and have an influence well beyond these four walls and evolve, in effect, into a national treasure. I've heard musicians describe COMA, interstate musicians, describe COMA as a national treasure, and I think they're absolutely bang on. 20 years is a long time, so once you rack up a couple of decades, it means that members of COMA are younger than COMA itself, and it means members of COMA are younger than than the time that committee members have served, which again is a monumental achievement, and also ages us all quite remarkably. And there are members now, musicians and punters, who don't know well without COMA. They were born into COMA. It's never known in Adelaide without COMA. And, in a sense, it's great if they almost take it a little bit for granted that it's here. It's just this part of the landscape, and it's integral part of the landscape. Clearly needs a lot of love to keep it going. But I think just that notion that something has been around longer than some of its members is pretty special, and demonstrates a lot of work. Yeah. And it's arguable that pretty much every jazz musician that's come out of Adelaide and playing nationally, internationally, has come through COMA at some point, or COMA adjacent. And again, that is an influence that resonates, far, far beyond our borders. And you think of the thousands of musicians that have played here, and the influence that COMA's had over that, again, quite extraordinary. And if we look at, at the numbers and doing some very rough calculations, we're looking at least 500 plus gig nights. So that's 1,000 sets, 1,000 acts, 4,000 plus musicians. For every soloist, there's a big band, barely fit on a stage. 35,000 punters plus, and some repeat offenders certainly. But again, that's some pretty serious numbers, and pretty serious numbers building a steadfast community. It's a literal generation of jazz in real time. It takes a village to raise a COMA, and and as has been mentioned, audience couldn't do it without you. So extraordinary commitment and dedication, a ragtag bunch of punters coming along to the Wheaty, thousands of hours of your life you've spent here, and even more impressive if it's music and acts that you really don't like. That's self-flagellation never goes out of fashion. Amazingly attentive audience, and committed, that you'll struggle to find anywhere. I mean, we like to think that we encourage that with our regular Wheaty gigs as well. And some gigs you can hear a pin drop, and there are some nights that from out here you can't hear anything but the music. And behind the bar, if we hadn't had a chance to stick our head out, I was like, oh shit, it's really quiet out there tonight. Like, it's a shame. Band's amazing, no one's out there. And you come out to a full room, and they're just transfixed and held by the music, and that's the sign of a very respectful crowd and an attentive audience, and that's a very special thing, and a rare thing again these days. We're not all watching the band through our phones. So bands couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without you. The audience rocking up, week after week after week, gig after gig. It's an extraordinary effort, and even over this weekend, when you're looking at, we've had the first phase, COMA's birthday on Friday, the amazing Explosioning on Sunday tonight, and then we've got Taylor and Voss on Wednesday. So your job's not done yet. It is Rock Up Wednesday as well. It's a pretty serious commitment, and we're very thankful for that. And I think, to state the obvious, COMA wouldn't be COMA without our amazing audience. Marty Jones. Very much the fifth Beatle, Marty, and I mean that as a compliment. So skillful, so much care, so generous with his knowledge, his mentor program, all the time in the world, Marty, and years and years and years of service, and it's quite exceptional. And not that you would ever need to, but if you did need to polish a turd, Marty is your guy. And the third instalment, of course, is the COMA committee and the amazing musicians. So a lot of work goes into COMA. As Sam mentioned, thousands of hours, volunteer hours, and it, as with all of these things, you know, it takes a small group of seriously dedicated people to actually make it happen. And COMA walk the walk. You know, they walk the talk year in, year out, decade in, decade out. No mean feat. And there are committee members who've been on the committee, longer than some of its members have been alive, which is, again, absolutely amazing. And there's that continuity, which is phenomenal. And I have shared this story before, but it resonates, so I'll share it again. And that was a quote from Sam saying, you know, in terms of being a committee member, you know, it's you join up for the music and you stay for the admin, you know. And there's clearly a lot of that, but given Liz does almost all of it, not sure that Sam can say that. But the institutional knowledge and experience that COMA committee brings is something that KPMG can only dream of, and at only a fraction of the cost. And while pursuing art for art's sake, and you know, valuing that art is intrinsically valuable, in the process, COMA, as we hope the Wheaty, has acted as an incubator, and not in the WHO sense. It's probably just coincidence that jazz has come out very well out the other end of the of COVID restrictions and is having a moment. But leaving that aside, an incubator for talent that is, I would say, unmatched. You know, it's quite extraordinary. The mentorship programs, the emerging artist programs, there's nothing quite like it, certainly in Australia. And again, that takes a lot of work to do that. R&D, you know, so if we are going to talk about, you know, Department of Innovation and Industry, we could talk about R&D, yeah. Obviously, it's not just about what COMA do, but about how they do it as well. And in a world where ability and talent comes in all shapes and sizes, opportunity does not. And COMA have been chipping away to help level the playing field, if I can mix all sorts of metaphors. And I got a prop. I always have a beer with me. And this one, it's not one of ours. It's Heaps Normal. They released a non-alcoholic stout, and they called it Jazz, which, you know, means things have gone pretty mainstream, I think, if you're getting a non-alcoholic. And if they knew anything about jazz, I mean, non-alcoholic beer, seriously? It's more like, you know, pots of chamomile tea and soda water maybe, but, you know, non-alcoholic beer, I don't think so. But there's a quote on the can, and we got this in stock, so I don't want to have too much of a dig at Heaps. Well, we stock their beer, good beers. But we got them in stock, and Maeve was reading the can, and on the can it says, the quote, if you have to ask what jazz is, you'll never know. You know? Well, clearly they're not taking it too seriously, but the first thing Maeve said was that's the opposite of COMA. You know, and that approach is the opposite of COMA, and it's, you know, COMA is about, you know, bringing people in, or, you know, making the circle bigger rather than the opposite, you know, and expanding who jazz is by and for, rather than restricting that. And it's for everyone. Of course, unless you're a dickhead, in which case it's not for you. Jazz is definitely not for you. You got everywhere else to play, you know. New and improved jazz standards, as we say, and COMA's at the forefront of those. We're so proud to have partnered with COMA for the last 20 years, and effectively we've, you know, grown up together, and very proud to have played our part in the partnership that is COMA, making their 20 years of experimentation and creating amazing music and amazing spaces. The music world is a smarter, kinder, better, and certainly more original world with COMA in it. So happy birthday, COMA, and here's for the next 20. Thank you.
Thanks, Jade. We'll just have a not too brief changeover, and then we'll be back with Voice From. Go to the bar and check out this beer.
maybe a bit of rhythm. Sorry, maybe there's a rhythm. Rhythm. There's some snare. Round cymbals and toms, please. So, kick again. Yeah, that's cool.
Managed to get that back into the country from New Orleans.
I just got to set up the string.